the examples in my life that have certainly been significant and translated into who I am and what I'm able to do. Start definitely with my parents, first and foremost. And, I've reflected on my life. They gave me the most important thing, which was love and stability. Nothing too fancy, but every single day, my parents walked the walk on what was important and what they wanted for us. And it set an expectation that lasted. It's lasted a lifetime. They were with us in the ups, they were with us in the downs, and they were with us all the time in the mundane. So certainly that. I also was so fortunate to have grandparents that reinforced all the important things, were very present in our lives, and certainly was fully aware of how hard their life was growing up in a different era and what it took to get the simplest things, how much work it took. And that was all communicated back to us in a number of ways, and it stuck with me. And it manifests itself different ways, but certainly family was very, very significant. And then when all through high school, I'd say I had several teachers that took a special interest in me and put me in directions I wouldn't have put myself, but it gave me the opportunity to see new things, experience different things, and made me more prepared for what would come ahead and the responsibilities that I would face. Church was a big part of my life. All of those people certainly showed their support, and certainly my faith is a big underpinning of who I am and the peace that it gives me to deal and agree to do difficult things. So all of that definitely from the young age through high school, and then that just continued. I have to say my affinity for people is why I do most of what I do. And everybody needs a cheerleader and an encourager. I have been so fortunate with the number of people that have done that for me. And in my jobs, in the nonprofit world, different people step up to be sitting in a room and hear an idea that absolutely seems impossible with the skill set you have. And for somebody who has a million other things to do to step up and say yes, as simple as saying yes, and then do it. Who gets to see that, and what kind of an impression that is on what we're really capable of doing when all the passion's there and we put our talents together. And so everybody in those tasks, at the ripe age of 25, I took on a startup nonprofit that was in a very difficult spot. And I didn't think I had it in me, but a group of about 4 people, mainly from the business sector, told me I could do it, and they supported me. And they're still going strong. We went from 18 staff to I think 52. When I left, we doubled the number of students, 2 to 5, early childhood, that truly could participate in a very instrumental part of their life in early childhood and change their trajectory forever. That was not possible on my own, but because I was able to do it with the support of others, I can say yes to more things because I know so much is possible. And I feel we have a really great capacity to do more than what we think we can do. But oftentimes you need a friend to remind you that you can do it. It's important to be approachable by everybody and to have the vast diversity in your life of different experiences. And that means no matter where somebody finds themselves in lives, there's so much to learn from that person. And there's a way to help each other along the way. I also am old enough to know that none of us are immune to bad circumstances in life, it doesn't take much to go from one position to another position. And the humility that can occur is just truly a privilege when you know somebody that is working really hard just to stay in a certain place. It's a privilege, and that has been my privilege many times over. I have sat on dirt floors and can have one of the most wonderful experiences with someone. It's a privilege when someone lets you in their life to see, and you can, encouragement, I think, is something that we all can offer. And I'm fortunate that both my genetics and my experiences, I know that intuitively, and with all the wonderful opportunities I've had and the experiences that I wouldn't trade, there is nothing like seeing somebody regain their self-esteem and know that they can change their circumstances. But most of the time, they need someone to remind them. And it's been my privilege to do that. And it's trite, and it's often heard that you gain more when you do this, but that absolutely is true. And I like to be kind of in the middle of life. And in the nonprofit sector and the work that's done, you find yourself in life. And sometimes it's awkward and sometimes it's uncomfortable. But my heart grows and my heart softens with each relationship that I have, and I come away with a much better understanding, much more compassion, and the knowledge that we all can move forward. Certainly, I have a background in nonprofits. That isn't where I started, but I have been in many capacities within nonprofits, from running them to being on boards, to actually participating in programmatic things, reading to children. And you know what I love about nonprofits and what I learned early on, and it still is the same, is there's a symbiotic relationship. All the people that are involved have a stake in the outcome. It's actually an equal stake almost. It takes the inputs from the community. It takes a client that is there asking for some additional resource, and it takes the staff that's willing to be there all the time, and together we make change. I also love the part about nonprofits that is a place to turn. It's oftentimes a first place to turn when people recognize that they're going to need help, and I love it that in our communities we have that, and it's been my experience that so many good people are drawn into the nonprofit field. And so I think it's a special type of organization, I think filled with special people. I think it takes a lot to be involved in a nonprofit from a day-to-day standpoint. It can be very wearing. It can also be the greatest part of your life. I personally find it extremely fulfilling, even after we've had to work really hard to get to where we need to be. And my lasting friendships my entire life have always come out of working together through a nonprofit. Things tend to be better with a smile and a laugh. That's the way I approach them. I've held people's hands when they're dying. I have had teenagers in my home at 17 that thought they would graduate and get scholarshiped, only to learn that they could not read. It's amazing what can come when we're honest with each other and help each other move from that point. I think hope comes from understanding and embracing our imperfections, and with that we can grow together. So laughing helps that a lot. I have a smile that is genetic. I can't take credit for that, but I can say that having gone through many experiences, some I wished I hadn't seen, they still help me be who I am. And I think behind that smile now is a glow from all of that, and feeling responsible, that because I have had incredible experiences, incredible people in my life, that I have to give back. So when you can say yes every time you can. That's what I try to do. If I can, I do. That's not always, but I think yes is a great answer. I began being introduced to nonprofits in about 1992, fresh out of college in my Navy suit, going to the accounting firm where I had taken a job. And again, a person in my life in high school, I leased apartments. She apparently liked my work, and she had given my resume to the first nonprofit that I worked for. Using that as a springboard, I went to start up an early childhood program. Turns out I also met my husband in that, and for all of those many years now, I have had a partner in all the community work that I do. In fact, oftentimes my husband, David, steps back and pushes me forward, knowing that doing this kind of work makes me so happy. And then he's also willing at the end of his long day for me to come in and download more. And we are a team with regard to how we feel about being a bigger part in making impact where we can. Through my work at CAC, it's the largest nonprofit that I have been exposed to. And what I've learned in my 5-year history with CAC is even the large organizations can have incredible warmth within them. And each person and each program has a special place for me. I can remember, of course, my attachment immediately was with Head Start and the knowledge of what early childhood does, and immediately not only was so impressed by the competency and talent of the staff, but their care and going well beyond what would be expected for so many children in our county, and the excellence that comes with that. And then Youth Corps, I have been so impressed by some of the youth that have participated in that and told the meaning that it has had for their life. And finally, to the seniors, just recently, I've had multiple experiences. I tell you, that is inspiring to me to see and hear the reflection of people in their life, and let that resonate with what's important as you go through and you make choices about what you pursue and what you put your time into.